Welcome to Friday Vibes.
Friday Vibes.
No script.
No script.
Just chat.
Just chat.
We talk all things food and beverage.
And
so much more.
So much more.
Feel our vibe.
Feel our
and search
vibe.
for
And
Friday
search for
Vibes.
Friday Vibes.
Apple Podcasts
Apple Podcasts
or Spotify. And make sure to give us
a
5-star review.
5-star review.
Now your host.
Me.
Alex Baer
Alex
with
Baer
Genius
with
Juice.
Genius Juice.
And Wade
Yenny.
All right, welcome to episode 47 of Friday Vibes. We have myself, Alex Baer, CEO and co-founder of Genius Juice, Wade Yenny, CPG specialist, and someone, I'm assuming, Renee, walking in the background. And you're on mute. It's no script.
Renee's in the background, but she's trying to sneak around. She didn't do a good job, did she?
No, I mean, she actually did the perfect job of appearing in the background. Right when it went on us, we saw her.
I was kidding with her earlier and told her that she was going to be the guest today, but she wasn't buying that.
She's kind of the subliminal guest in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah. So some housekeeping items. Happy early holidays to everyone. We'll do more of the official happy holidays on our next show, which is December 23rd, 2022. Yes, we're having a show on the eve of Christmas Eve. Yes, because everyone's been asking, can you return to the original time slot when the show was created? And that original time slot being 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, all you West Coasters, get your coffee, get your tea, get your mud water, whatever you get your bulletproof. You're going to be up early with us December 23rd at 8 a.m. since we're kind of traveling in the holiday season. And also, Wade, you're going to be among us on the West Coast.
I'm going to be on the West Coast. I actually fly out early next Wednesday. So I will be there. Travel delays pending, of course. But I'm hoping it's not going to be. Yeah, I'm hoping it's not going to be a
5 a.m. slot for Kenny.
Yeah, it's not going to be a plane, trains, and automobiles scenario. But I'll be there in Carlsbad, my old stomping grounds, for a week starting next Wednesday. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to start the show at our old time, just for throwback's sake, and help out everybody on the West Coast a little bit, and the East Coast. It'll be a little bit changed, almost lunchtime, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have a pre-lunch. It's the pre-lunch Friday Vibes, East Coasters. It's the late morning bagel for the Midwesterners, and it's the morning coffee for the West Coast. And for Kenny Hausman in Hawaii, it's the I'm up super freaking early for only one reason.
It's his wake-up call. It's his wake-up
call. Exactly. I'm just going to be, I don't know what's going to, I'm going on a very mini vacation to the Central Coast of California. We can't really go too far with the new baby. But I'm going to be doing ice baths. There's a hot springs, I'm calling it the Cold Springs trip, hotel, very small hotel. On every patio, they have a hot springs tub. So you literally straight from the hot springs to the tub through a faucet, and you can make it super ice cold or you can make it super hot. So I'm going to make it ice cold, plus get the ice from the hotel and dump it into the tub. I've never done an ice bath before. I hear it's extremely painful yet rewarding, kind of like being an entrepreneur, right? Same kind of thing. An ice bath is symbolism for being an entrepreneur. It might, you're in there for only 2 minutes, but it feels like 5 years. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I should be fresh off that for our next show. So I might be
you're going to look like 10 years younger or something. It's going to be like the Fountain of Youth.
Exactly. I'll be 2009 Alex Baer, more hair. So some housekeeping items just for everyone. Thanks for all the comments coming in hot here. It's awesome. So make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. You go to Apple Podcasts. It's very easy. You go to Spotify, you give us 5 stars. It's not hard to do. We're at 70. I think you're at 70 now. 30 away from 100 for those that can't do the math, but everyone can do the math here because we're smart. The other thing that's really big news. This is okay. We've already conquered New Zealand, okay, with our show. Like they're good. Now, and I'm going to pull this up because I want to make sure I get the facts completely straight because I sent you that email earlier.
Yep.
We ranked, I'm not kidding you, this is not a joke. We ranked number 9 in all of Chile. Okay. Number 9, we're in the top 10 in Chile, I should say.
Yeah.
For entrepreneurship, of all entrepreneurship podcasts on Apple Podcasts.
Which is
Number
pretty
9.
remarkable if you think about it, because obviously we're not doing it in their native language. So that's
Not at all.
Yeah, that's good to say. That's pretty cool. And actually, I have a correction for you. We have 71 reviews now. 71.
Okay,
We're
someone
29
came in.
away. Yep.
So we're 29 away. But also, we're number 9 for Apple Podcasts Chile entrepreneurship, that category. We've double ranked in Chile. We're number 28 for business, all of business podcasts. I mean, we are 27 away from not only being number 1, but we're going to beat out Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, all those guys that have those big podcasts. You know, what's the other guy? Joe Rogan. We're going to beat all those guys out in Chile. We're that close.
We're international. We just have a bigger international appeal than they do. I think that's
essentially. I mean, we ranked in North America top 100, top 10 in Chile, top 25 in New Zealand. I mean, we're on a freaking
that's 3 continents. So we've only got a couple more to go,
Yeah. Now, what are those continents? Let me test your geography.
Well, we've got Asia, we've got Europe, we've got Antarctica.
A lot of people forget about that one.
Africa, right?
And Africa. Yep.
Did I get them all?
Yeah, I think there's 7 continents, right? So you got 4 of them, and then there's 3 others that we already conquered. So
right.
That's it.
We're on a roll.
So some good sponsors we have today as well. Just want to list those out because we already have people, our partners, commenting. And also we got to mention Be Driven as well. I got to get their logo up. But before we do, just some sponsors for today. We have Brandjectory, and we also have Avante Press. So that's Tom Malengo, Susan Bryanton, Michael Movitz with Brandjectory. And we have Carrie Knowlton with Avante Press. They have amazing holiday cards, and it's perfect timing because the holidays are among us. And then I also want to show, finally got this. This is full of hot water right now. This is Rich Insights, Richard Moniz. I got this. I got the 10 trees. I said 3 trees. I'm thinking of the brand. 10 trees cap here, which I've been wearing while playing golf. If you notice closely, this is made out of compostable paper. See that on the bill? It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So, and you have yours too, because you got it right before me.
Yep, I've been using that Yeti every day. It's my new go-to for my work. Refillable water bottle. Love it.
Oh yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers. It's actually, I just rinsed it out when I came home. It's over there. That's why I went to my handy dandy tie-dye cup.
Yep, that's your signature. So, all right. So some comments we're going to read out here. We missed a lot of comments last week because we had Jake on here. When Jake's on here, there's, all hell breaks loose in a really good way. I'm still waiting on those cookie doughs, Jake. I have not got them yet.
Well, the Cookie Monster stole all the cookies. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did see
that. The Cookie Monster stole, so it might be a while. There's probably a delay now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let people figure that one out for themselves by going on their social media. I thought it was real in the beginning.
I had a feeling it was another campaign, but hey, kudos. It got people to gravitate towards it. And I wonder if there's any blowback potentially from the folks at Sesame Street. I don't know if that's if you're allowed to use the likeness and whatnot. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, maybe all you have to do is, I've learned about name, image, likeness, we work with celebrities and Meta World Peace and all these, other athletes, that if you work with a likeness of something that you don't have rights to, you change them and you change their name a little bit.
Gotcha.
It's like a knockoff version.
So it's like an impersonator type thing.
Yeah. So instead of Cookie Monster, it's Midday Monster or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So anyway, let's go through some of the comments here. The first one, Kenny Hausman beat everyone to the punch. It must be that Hawaiian air. He's just on here. He's focused. He gets it done first. So happy Aloha Friday. Big Bills game tomorrow. I also got to mention too, without getting down this path too much, the PNC, the golf tournament PNC, is this Saturday and Sunday where it's the father-son competition. So you have like John Daly, who's a pro, big time golf pro for many years, and his son, Tiger Woods, and his son are going to play. He's in the news a lot. Charlie Woods, Tiger Woods' son, he looks bigger than Tiger Woods. I mean, the guy grew like a foot from last year to this year.
How old is he now?
He is 14. 13.
Is he that old? Holy cow.
Yeah, I think 13. And he looked pretty small last year, but he was dry. He was playing great last year at the PNC with his father. They came in second place. But now he drives so far, they actually moved him back a tee. They moved him further. That's how far he's driving.
Wow.
So he's like with other pros on that tee distance. But
so
then
if they were second, who beat him?
John Daly and his son last year. Last year. Yeah.
Okay.
So the tournament's on Peacock. You have to be streaming on there. God knows there's enough streaming going around. But if you want to check it out, Saturday, tomorrow and Sunday. And Tiger Woods' son is literally driving further than his dad, which is insane for a 13-year-old. So it's going to be fun.
Well, Kenny, there's a big Browns game tomorrow too. The Ravens play at Cleveland, which is always a big game because the Ravens are the former Browns. So that's a big game as well.
Got it. The Ravens, you said, are former Browns. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns relocated to Baltimore in, what was that, 96, 97. So that Baltimore, quote unquote, stole the team. And then the new Browns came back in, 98, I think, 98, 99, something like that. So it's kind of a big rivalry as far as, technically the old Browns versus the new Browns. So
got it.
Kenny, to answer your question, the Browns are playing for nothing. They're it's December. So typically by this point, they're out of the playoff contention, which really probably happened in November, not December, but that's besides the point. But bragging rights, that's what they're playing for. Bragging
exactly
rights.
For the
always
fans.
A good game. It's like Michigan, Ohio State, and don't say anything, Gavin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Tom Malingo, hello everyone. Brandjectory is here. Susan Bryanton, also with Brandjectory. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Dima Mararu with Guru Energy Drink. Hello everyone. Are there lights on Francesca? That's what Tom is asking.
And there are indeed.
Oh, there it is.
There are indeed. Yeah. Can you? Oh wait, I gotta go this way.
There we go.
There she is. There are lights. Good.
Beautiful.
Tom's got an eagle eye right there.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even notice that. All right. So, there's Kenny saying what he said. Stephanie Huey out of San Francisco. She works at the Potrero Hill Whole Food Store. Shout out. Love the time slot as well for myself. Stephanie worked the early morning hours at Whole Foods. So that's perfect for her. Couple more here. A lot of congratulations on our achievement in Chile. And what else? Midday Monster has a nice touch to it.
You should trademark that or something. Copyright that.
Yeah, quick. And a couple more here. Gavin's here. Let the party begin. What else? What time are the Browns playing? And I think that's about it. What's up, Kenny? Let's start the chat party. All right. So I guess we're heading into the holidays. I just had a really good conversation with someone on the phone. I won't say who they are or where they're from. I won't say anything, basically. I just want to leave them completely anonymous. But the conversation that we had was this person said, I'm growing. They're in the food and beverage space. I'm growing. I'm getting into more stores, mostly natural stores. I'm going to raise a Series A next year, which they're on a path to doing that, to raising more capital.
Right.
But then I said, hey, look, what if you don't raise the capital? What happens then? Everyone's raising capital. Everyone's trying to raise capital. The big guys are raising capital. The small brands are having trouble raising capital. I really advise this person, not advise, but just shared my thoughts on, hey, why don't you operate your business like you will not raise the Series A? Because if you operate and put a lot of money in the marketing and expenses are high to really grow your brand and you don't raise that money, where are you going to be? So it's kind of this debate. And I think it goes back to all these conversations we had in the previous couple of weeks, which is I think it's a better move to brace for the worst, hope for the best, and kind of hold back a little bit and focus on, all the profitability and stuff. So that was a conversation I had right before the show. And I think it's a really dangerous thing to depend on raising capital in this environment. But anyway, that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, it's going to be volatile, I think, for the next, I don't know, 9, maybe even 16 months. I think it's just everything we've been talking about for the last few weeks. It's treacherous across the board, and the Fed's gonna. It sounds like there's multiple increases coming up possibly. So it's scary times, and the thing is with raising capital, obviously. At some point, and you're the expert at this, the investors expect a return, right? I mean, It's not, it's not the day after you get the money, but it's not a pot at the end of the rainbow. It's at some point the return should be there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the return, if you're having trouble growing your brand and you're having trouble getting the multiples you need to go to an exit, it's going to be hard to get a lot of money back to those investors. And you're seeing some sales that are happening recently that are not full on exits. Like they're kind of like the brand can't grow anymore, or the brand is running out of money and they need to exit in order to, they want to end on top before they go down, downhill.
Right.
And I think that's making it harder for investors to be like, okay, well, I'm going to be putting in my money into this, and I may not see a return for several years. And when I do see that return, it's going to be like 2x or 3x. Is that really worth it? I mean, most investors in this game, they're looking at 7x, 8x, 9x, 10x, because VCs, venture capital firms, they have partners that invest in that fund. And those partners are demanding, so there's like pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure to get those returns. And I think the best way to get a return is to have a solid business with solid margins, solid EBITDA profit. And even if it takes if you ask an investor, do you want a 10x return in 8 years or a 2x return in 4 years? Right.
Right.
I would take the 10x,
Definitely. I got to tell you before, not to change the subject, but your attire reminded me that last weekend, I think I told everybody I visited my son in Wisconsin, and my Genius Juice hoodie was all over Wisconsin last week. That's the only coat, if you will, I took. It's heavy enough. It was even though it was frigid in Wisconsin, it was perfect for traveling. So thank you again for that. But it came in very handy in Wisconsin. That was our white Christmas last week.
Nice.
I'm not planning on seeing snow in San Diego.
Yeah. You're escaping the snow for the holiday. Did anyone, when you were wearing the hoodie, and thank you for wearing it. Obviously, it's comfortable. It kicks ass.
It was in North Carolina and then Michigan, because we had our layover in Detroit, and it was in Wisconsin. So you were all over the Midwest and everywhere last week.
I think I saw a little uptick in sales out there. Now I know why. Why. It was the weight factor. So when you were wearing it, did you ever get any feedback from people like, are you calling yourself a genius, or what is genius? Did anyone say anything?
I didn't, but I did have people look at it. I'm sure you got at least a couple Google inquiries from it. So
for sure.
And the one thing that we did, we did a couple things last week. We did obviously visit my son. We toured the Capitol that's there in Madison, which was kind of cool to see the Capitol building. We threw axes for the first time. We went to one of those indoor axe throwing places, which is really fun. We had a great time. Had some good times there, and then we saw the Black, not the one with the Rock, the other one, the Black Panther movie.
Yeah,
we saw that, which I think was the longest movie. It's like right up there with Titanic. It was like almost 3 hours, which is crazy. But so it was a good weekend.
That is a lot. That's an action-packed weekend right there. I'm just pulling up the show here from my side so I can comment and all that stuff. Yeah, I think this is a time really to. I mean, I had a post about this the other day, and we can always talk. We can go into more detail on it, but I do this all the time where I push too hard. Many people push too hard, and they push beyond their limits, and then before you know it, you've caused irreparable damage, or there could be depression or just burnout or whatever it is. So I'm learning, and it's hard because you're passionate about what you do, Wade. I'm passionate about what I do. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there on the show that are very, very passionate about what they do. But you have to separate that and make sure you're grounded to where you're not pushing yourself too hard. And then you realize, a year in or 2 years in, I feel like shit. I'm too tired. My diet sucks. I have no energy. And I've been sacrificing all these things, my wellness, my mental wellness, my physical wellness, to grow a brand or grow a business or run a purchasing division, right? It's really easy to get lost in that, Wade. It's so easy because we love what we do. And it's such a great industry. And I love the people. We love the people in this industry. So being present to that is really, really important. That's what my post was about, which is like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. As cliched as that sounds, like just take it easy. Don't push too hard. Like you don't have to do everything in a weekend or in one day. That spreadsheet will be sitting there on Monday. You don't have to do it on Friday. I think it's important, people start sticking to that more.
Definitely. And I had a conversation with someone today, similar to that, with a younger child and just encouraging to prioritize and put family first, because you don't get that time back. It's you get one go round. And, so to see you and hear you, that's kind of where your mentality is. And it's where it should be, because, if I could tell the younger version of me, give that person some advice, it certainly would be, to think about that a little bit, because, you do, to your point, when you talk about passion, you talk about drive and all those things, they all have their place, but you don't get to do those things. You miss so much as you're doing all those work things, right? And I certainly had my share lumps with the children growing up, as far as missing things and or not being as present as I'd like to be. And it's good to hear people realizing that now, because it's better to realize it now than later.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen more, I'm sure you're seeing this. I don't know how much you're seeing this at, in the organization you're in, but like buyers, right? Buyers are just, not because they don't like the organization or where they're working. It's just the nature of the beast that the pandemic has brought a whole new ballgame of how buying works, right. Like before, you're at a desk and someone visits you and you have a conversation, you have a hug, you have a handshake. It's exciting to see new items, right? But when you're now at the mercy of Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, and you're seeing like 30 items in one day, that puts both sides at a disadvantage. It puts the brand at a disadvantage. It puts the buyer, because it's like someone in the NBA playing 7 quarters without taking a break. I mean, your shots are gonna suck in the 7th quarter. So like we're human. We don't have unlimited energy. When you're looking at 30 different items, you're just not going to have the energy to like put into every single meeting. So we're seeing more buyers than ever before leave their post and going somewhere else, or going into consulting, or doing something else different, or going to a different company, whatever it is. And it makes it a lot harder for the buying process on both sides, because you got to get that new person up and running and onboard them. And so I know, you've been through this and you're going through it, and we'll continue to go through this, but this has been exacerbated for those. I'm going to throw the dictionary away. This has been worsened by the pandemic, by video calls and all this. So I'm seeing now we're kind of in the post-pandemic, or not in the post, but we're at the tail end of the pandemic in a way, little surges here and there, that we're seeing the results of people getting burned out. I'm seeing it every day. I'm seeing it in meetings. I'm hearing it in people's voices. I mean, I had a buying meeting a few months back, and this buyer went through 45 presentations in like a week. And the person just looked tired, in the call. And I even said, I'm just going to cut my presentation short because I feel sorry for you.
Right.
Here's what it is. And let's just chat about life and something else. And I'll throw in a little bit about the product. But honestly, man, I don't want to push anything in this meeting because you're tired,
Right.
And I think about the best times I have in life. I'm getting rambling now, but going to a lake and jumping in the water, or playing golf, or spending time with my son, with my wife, going for a walk. Usually the simplest things in life are the most rewarding, and we need to keep that in perspective.
Right. Well, and I'll touch on a couple of things you talked about. One, and this is some, I always like to talk about sales advice from a buyer's perspective, and we've got Kenny and Gavin on here, and I think both of them have been in similar situations, and they can chime in. But for me, one of the worst things you as a salesperson can do when you talk about buyers changing desks and things like that, or new people coming in, is to come in and say, well, I called on, let's just say, Joe, and he was ready to put the product in. He was really super excited about it, and blah 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 blah. And guess what? Joe isn't the guy anymore. And I don't care what Joe told you. I don't mean to be. I'm not going to be, rough and be rude, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, the guy that was in here before you showed me coconut milk or coconut smoothie, blah 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 blah. And I told him it doesn't matter, right? It's a different product. It's the same thing with the buyer, right? You come in and you say, well, the person that was sitting in your seat before you, who isn't there for whatever reason, they left, went to a different company, was resigned, fired, whatever the case may be. You don't really want to hear that. You don't want to, I'm a new person. I have a new set of eyes. The only caveat to that, the exception might be if myself and let's just say Joe worked side by side and you called on both of us, and Joe was an assistant and you were presenting to both of us, and he was in on those meetings and all those things.
Right.
But if you have a new person come in from outside the company, or someone from a, just completely different field comes in, you don't want to play that card, because it's almost like, bringing up an ex. It's just not, you're a new person. You want to have your own ideas. You don't necessarily need to buy into what Joe looked at. You want to talk about what Wade's looking at, right? And so I think that's important to think about and realize that it's not a good sales pitch to say the person that was in your seat before you was thought about this or was looking at this. It's not necessarily a good play. And that's my opinion. Gavin, Kenny, chime in if you feel otherwise, but I think that's kind of my take.
Yeah. I think people are just, I think it can almost be like insulting someone's intelligence in a way. Like that's the way I look at it. Cause you're like, hey, the decision was already made.
Right.
Now you have to just follow through and do it. It's like, no, like there's a new buyer for a reason. They're going to relook at everything.
Right. Well, and the other thing I would tell you is I've experienced this, and without naming names, I've seen people use that the wrong way, that, oh yeah, he, as means of trying to push it through. Like,
it's already approved.
Oh yeah, he said yes and blah, blah. No. And guess what? Anytime I've left a position, I've made 100% clear and been completely transparent with the person that was, going to take the reins. Here's where I'm at. And, I always, and to this day, I've talked to people in Ohio this week. I don't think I've talked to Louisiana this week, but I talked to Ohio just today. That, they know all they have to do is send me a text and say, hey, so-and-so said this. And I can't tell you, it's happened a handful of times where I've said, I never said that. I never said that at all. So, your reputation, your honesty, all those things comes into play. So the other thing I was going to say that you talked about was, buyers being tired and all those things. So I can tell you, especially in the that's one of the disadvantages with Zoom, that is so convenient to have so many meetings back to back to back to back, right? And you mentioned 45 meetings in a week or whatever that case may be. When you talk about some of the bigger categories, and you're in one of them, whether you talk about salty snacks, beverages, cold case,
what have you. It is exhausting to have, the amount you can imagine, it, the amount of people that want to get into those spaces. And yeah, it's nonstop. And those buyers are tired. So I think it's good that you understand that, and you've adjusted your pitch to accommodate that, because I think that probably goes a long way. So
yeah, it's kind of goes back to the pleasantly persistent model that I like to work off of. Being authentic, being real, being upfront, and we're in business to grow our sales, and we need to be in sales meetings. We need to convince buyers to bring in our product. So there is that side to it where you need to push. There needs to be a push somewhere, right? Like sales is basically telling someone or presenting and saying, here's the reason why, convincing them to bring in your product. So there's a push there, but there's a balance to that. And you got to know where the retailer's at. You got to know, and we've talked about this so much, like, is it really the right fit for the retailer, or are you just trying to pad your stats with more revenue? Does this product make sense on the shelf? Because most buyers, like in your previous roles, like you see right through it. No, like they're just trying to sell me on something that does not make sense, for this retailer.
Right.
And the other thing too that I'm encouraging brands to do is to also not continue selling into retailers. It's important, and that has to keep going. But I know there's been some challenges with online, right? There's been challenges with advertising, with cost of customer acquisition, with the iOS issue, all these things we talked about 5 or 6 months ago. Just make sure not to take your eye too much off of online. Both is great, but it's hard to do both at the same time. I get that. But I'm realizing, we're launching our Genius Shots in Q1 of next year. And we're realizing that the sales cycle, right, just to get into retail could take 6 months to a year. So to depend, and it's just the nature. It's not because retailers are, they're behind or what. It's just because there's so many brands to review. There's so many categories. It's highly complex. To do a reset is so fucking hard. I mean, it's not even fun, right? To swap things in and out and make sure it fits, and price points and needs. I mean, it's not easy to do what buyers and people are doing, such as Wade, and has done in the past. So for that, all that said, know that the buying cycle could take longer than you think. I would double down on online and just focus on that. What are organic ways to grow your sales online? Is it more social media? Is it more creative videos like what Midday Squares is doing? Is it email marketing, right? Is it in-person tastings and getting people to become customers online? These are all things to not ignore. And then, you look at models like what Magic Spoon did, right? Magic Spoon started online. They focused only on online for 2-3 years. Now, when they go to retail, people know the brand. People are destination shopping. Right. So those are some things at play when deciding how you want to grow your brand.
Well, and I was just going to piggyback off that a little bit and say, to create a buzz, because, especially when you start talking about larger chains, when you talk about start to finish, when you look at the category review process, it is legitimately a 6-month process from, meetings to, especially if it's, and more often than not, what I'm referring to is new distribution into a DC or a warehouse, right? So that, you have to present, you have to be accepted, you have to go through all the new paperwork that needs to be done at the distributor. And I won't even get started on that, because that's a whole nother scenario. And then you have to, the retailer customer has to do all these planograms for their different set sizes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it legitimately, I think maybe best in class, if you're being really nimble, you might be able to pull off 4 months start to finish, but more realistically, you're probably pushing 6 months. So to your point, yeah, if you're introducing a product in January, the other thing to think about is the category review calendar, right? So if your category is being reviewed in February, well, guess what? You're probably a little bit out of luck with your introduction to your product. But if it's in July, August, then maybe it's a better window for you. But those reviews are starting in February, right? I mean, they're happening right then. So it's not easy. A smaller retailer, can be more nimble and can be quick. But when you're talking about the big boys, you have to do it right. And you know, there's so many things to think about when you talk about resetting and you talk about discontinuing items and sell through. And it's not just about sell through at stores, it's sell through at the DCs that you pull product from. You know, there's a number of things, and all that has to go through. So it's frustrating from a buying side, from a retailer side, to hear brands or to not those that are maybe new to the business that aren't as experienced and don't have that knowledge of what all goes into it. It's not simply, okay, well, I'm gonna take this out and put this in. There's a lot more involved, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. So I think it really goes to show you, like, know the other person, know what it's like to be in their shoes, right? On how difficult it is. And then you go into, like, also resources, right? Which you touched on a little bit, just people, like how it takes people, it takes time, it takes people at the store and also at the corporate level to put an item in. And then, like, you know, the retailer's also taking a chance on your item. You know what I mean? And that's why it needs to be the right fit at the right price point. So you should be walking into that meeting confident that if this item gets in, it's not about the sell in, it's about the sell through. Like, make sure that it moves off the shelf and support it however you can.
Right. And I've talked about that a lot in the past too, is that, you know, the easy part is getting in the store. And I know a lot of people, you know, kind of look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, but you know, when you get the product in, you're just starting. You know, the pitch is one thing, but getting it in the back door, and this is how I phrased it, getting in the back door is the easy part. It's getting out the front door. And, you know, I've heard numerous people talk about it as well, that it's not just about that initial sell through. It's got to be over and over and over again. And that's one of the reasons why myself, I'm a big proponent of establishing the brand and getting some exposure to it at the value or at the retail that you want to sell it at, as opposed to coming in hot off the press at BOGO, or where you haven't established what your brand or what your item is worth, right? And I mean, anybody can give anything away. I mean, we can all do that. You know, if you know this, Alex, if you hold a party and you want people to try shots, anybody's going to take it if it's free or if it's next to. But if you say, well, this is going to sell every day for $4.99, and you ask somebody to hand you $5 right there, they might give you a little bit different response. And I think that's the key, is to make sure people understand what the value and what price range you want to be at, as opposed to, oh, it's BOGO, or it's 2 for $4 when I want to sell it at, you know, $2.99 every day, or whatever the case may be. And I think a lot of people, and again, there's different mindsets for that. That's mine. Because if I undervalue your brand to start with, I never really established the price point that I want to sell you at. And selling on promotion typically is going to reduce your profits, and it's going to reduce my profits. And the important part is to make sure that we sell those turns, you know, let's call it 75% of the time when it's not on promotion, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we make our money. And if you're banking on the 20% or whatever that number is, as far as promotions go, you're probably not going to have a successful business for very long.
Yeah. And a lot of entrepreneurs get excited, you know, especially new entrepreneurs, when they get that opening PO, they're like, wow, what a big PO. Well, of course it's a big PO, because every store is ordering 1 case per SKU. Right. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, but having a plan in place. I mean, I think just, you know, product market fit, being in the right market, the right store is number one, right price. Number 2 is support at the store level, like, not only promotions. I'm not talking just promotions, maybe a demo here and there at the top stores. Social media. I mean, that's become bigger and bigger and bigger through email marketing and social media. How are you pushing people through the doors to go out and buy the product? And I think the brands that have done really well, I mean, I remember when, you know, Olipop has a really good example, when they launched, whenever they launch a new flavor, right? Even a new flavor, I get an email from them saying, hey, your local whatever, your local Whole Foods, your Erewhon, they're now carrying the new crisp apple, you know, flavor for a limited time. And by the way, here's a digital coupon in this email. Print that out, take it to the store, put it on your phone. You'll get 20% off or a BOGO. I mean, so they're masters at how to market and get people to the stores. But it's Adam Brown. I watched the Midweek Mood with him and Mark this week, and they talked about how it's harder. And just to switch topics a little bit, it's harder to stand out as a brand on social media right now. That's also a challenge because everyone's screaming. Everyone's saying like, check out this, or they have fancy editing, or they have great videos like Midday Squares. It's hard to compete with that. It's hard to compete when they have great content, great story. And I think the days of just showing, someone going like this, in a post or whatever, like, go buy this because this is delicious. Those days are over. Like, brands are under more pressure than ever before to get creative and to really craft a story behind the brand, craft a story and a movement behind the brand. And that's how you get people to go out and buy your product. And brands like Midday Squares have done it. Brands like Coconut Cold have done it. Brands like Poppy that recently raised 25 million. They're doing it on TikTok. So it's becoming harder to separate yourself. It's possible. It's just harder.
Right. We've got like 1,001 comments over here. So I don't know if you want to tackle some of those or.
Absolutely.
They're rolling. So
we got Resetting the Room, episode 47 of Friday Vibes. We're on a roll right now, and a lot of comments came in. So I got to give a shout out. This guy is like my hero. When I first joined the corporate world and when I was selling copiers in 2011, I met this guy at a local company in Torrance, Olin Marshall. He's in the beautiful city of Yorba Linda, California. And he was like my mentor at this company. And I love this guy. Hey, Alex, who put the O in Olin? That was an inside joke we had every time he entered the office. I'd be like, who put the O in Olin? Or if he was late, I'd be like, who put the O in 405? Because you're late. So that's Olin. Just want to shout him out. Gavin said, people gotta be smart on both sides. You don't need to take every meeting on the buying side. You can always say no when the request is made. Point the brokers into the right direction, and also do your research on the category prior to sending out the meeting request so you know what performance is out there already. I mean, Wade, not to get into detail because a lot of comments, I'm approaching 7 retailers with the shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, I want to see if they, I want to see how they work, what the velocity is, what the feedback is, flavor changes, packaging change. I want to get all that figured out on a small scale before going to whoever, Kroger,
right.
Safeway,
Inch wide, mile deep, right?
Inch wide, mile deep.
Yeah. Well, and I had something I wanted to touch on because I just thought about, but I lost it. It'll come back to me. I'm getting old.
I read a card. It's just, you've been younger longer.
It's part of it's like keeping up over here and keeping up over here. I'm just like, I had something
overload.
I had something to talk about, but I'll
you got Francesca in the background with the lights.
Francesca, there's lights. There's a Christmas tree over here. It's crazy.
So Kenny Hausman, I echo Gavin's last comments. I'm a big believer of doing the upfront research. Make sure your product is a fit. Category review launches. You put together your priorities and objectives for the review, and that will provide yourself and the vendor community clear objectives and help with meeting workload. I can't read right.
I remembered it. So I talked about this ad nauseum, right? As far as samples, first of all, unsolicited samples aren't necessarily a good thing. If you're trying to rope your buyer in with unsolicited samples, I'm going to tell you, like this time of year especially, there's people on paid time off. They're not in the office. Those things are sitting there gathering dust if they're getting them. And if it's perishable, don't even get me started. It's probably going to be, thrown away just because. But I got a box this week, unsolicited. I can't recall if it was a Christmas gift or if it, a gesture of some kind or something like that. And honest to goodness, first of all, the bottom of the box was a little wet and it was like, okay, we know where this is going. And I cut it open and it was sauce everywhere. I mean, and I did, do you think I'm going to take the time to rinse off and see what I can salvage out of a box of, like, I don't know how many items were in there? The entire box went in the trash. And I'm guessing that box was probably $50, probably minimally with shipping, probably closer to 75. The whole thing went in the trash. And it's not just about being unsolicited. We talk about this all the time with regards to packaging. Kenny's talking about foam coolers. You just really, really, especially if it's a gift, and I can't recall if this was a gift or if it was samples, but if you're trying to send somebody something and it's and you want them to think fondly of you or be gracious, you don't want to end up with sauce all over your clothes and on your floor in the office or what have you. The whole thing just went in the trash. And what a waste of time and money and just not bad will. It's just like, think about how, if you order something from Amazon and it shows up damaged, you're calling, you're getting credit, whatever you're going to do, right? Think about it. If you got something for free like that, you can just toss it. That's what's happening, and so I encourage anyone listening to this on the brand side to think really closely about unsolicited samples, especially those sent via FedEx, UPS, USPS, whatever, sent in the mail. And also, to think about how they're packaged. I can't stress that enough. If you send something and it's broke on delivery, what a bad impression that is. Yeah.
Yeah. I really encourage everyone to go to a 3PL. Unless you're, Coconut Cult, because they have their own manufacturing and their own packing, which Ari Raz just jumped on here. So what's up, brother? Thanks again for sending some yogurt our way, both to me and Wade. We really appreciate you. So yeah, just 3PL. Like I always say this in business, do what you're handling is what you're best at. What you're not best at, let someone else handle. It's that. It's literally that simple. And we brought Green Rabbit on here, a 3PL. They're great at what they do. Shout out to them. Refrigerated shipping. We're with them. They're the best, in my opinion. So I want to get through some other comments here because I know we're going to go to our sponsor. Stuff we love. It's stuff we love, and then sponsor, and then pleasantries, and then end. That's the structure. But
wow, this time is going really fast. It's been a minute since it's been you and I, because we've had guests. I think I missed an episode. You missed an episode. It's been a minute. So
yeah, it's been a year. So what else here? Yeah, we already read that. Gavin saying buyer, because Gavin was on the buying side, right? With Earth Fair, buyers are territorial. They want to create their assortment. If you say XX committed to this, who gives a shit? Let me do my work.
That's Gavin's a little bit more direct. I'm trying to be the nice guy over here. Gavin's the bad cop, but he's exactly right. He's exactly right.
Yep. Also, Kenny, who is a buyer at Foodland in Hawaii, suppliers, you need to understand that in most retail organizations, buyers, directors wear many hats, and they're truly running their business, which goes just beyond managing assortments. I mean, if you look at chains that are, in big organizations, there's a category manager for different areas of the store. When you start going to the smaller stores, there is literally maybe 1 to 2 people handling 50% of the store. They don't have the time. They don't have the time to open up packages that are with sauce everywhere. They don't have the time to hear about products that are not a good fit for them. So just do that upfront research, as mentioned, and do not send on a Thursday or a Friday.
Right. So, well, and again, if you're sending unsolicited and or off cycle, and your retailer or who you're pitching to is strict in that regard, guess where your samples are going? Maybe the produce guy or the meat guy or Joe that works in the mailroom or something like that. It's not going to get to the buyer. In fact, not only is it not going to get to the buyer, they're probably going to say you have to resend samples when the category review happens. So think about that, especially if they have a published category review calendar. It's not a good look and to just send them in, because you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just spending money unnecessarily, and it's not going to get to the person that you want to. And even if it does, you're going to send them again, because that's just the way it works.
Yep. You heard it here. So coming from the CPG specialist who's been in buying roles for
A couple
quite
years.
a while.
Couple
Yeah.
years.
Couple years. All right. So another one from Kenny Hausman. It's been such a great topic. There's so many comments coming back in. If you want to be your best self at work, take care of yourself and spend the time outside work. And yeah, I mean, when you think about, I mean, you hear about, I'm not going to go too much into the deep territory here, but I'll just say it. The number one thing that people say on their deathbed is, I wish I did more outside of work. That's the number one thing. Or I wish I tried coconut cold. That's the other one. That was such a big plug. That's insane. That's the biggest plug.
That's probably what killed them, is they didn't have those probiotics, and
Yeah.
they didn't have that going on. That's probably what did it.
That should be a social media thing for coconut cold. It's like, that could be a meme right there. Ari, no charge. No charge. Just yogurt. What else? There's a lot of back and forth between. I'm just glad that Gavin didn't turn his name into any holiday greeting, like Merry Gavinmas or something like that. If that happened, we're signing off early. I mean, that's a reason to cut the show off early. All right, what else? Gavin Conkle, which retailers does your product do well in? Brett Johnson, he's a consultant at B Fusion. He lives literally right here in the Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach area. Got to perform in store, get off the shelf every day. Not every win is a good win. Some wins are just, I call it the ego win. You win with your ego, but you lose with your pocketbook. Couple more. Gavin asks, what was your price point in Target versus Whole Foods? Did you get pushback from the buyers at Instance while you were there? I mean, not only pushback, we got discontinued. So that's the ultimate pushback. We were at $4.99 at the lowest, $5.49, $6.29. We were all over the map. Target has different price points depending on demographic areas. And it was a very good example. And Wade, besides me posting about, the birth of our son, the other two super high engaged posts were, we went to Publix, we went to Target, they were not the right fits. Here's what we learned, and here's how to avoid that landmine. I mean, that resonates with people, with buyers, with investors, because that's the biggest fear, right? Like if you're an investor in a company and they're going into like 2,000 doors and you fail there, I mean, it's hard to come back.
Red flag. Yep.
Huge.
Yep.
That's a burning flag. You're now Yoda, according to Kenny Hausman.
Because of this green. Oh,
the green.
yes.
I was thinking it was Big Lebowski for a second when I saw the top half, but I know it's not Lebowski.
No, it's not.
What is it?
That might be part of our trivia questions. We'll see.
Okay. That's why you're.
I'm kind of, yeah.
All right, Ari, what's up? Couple more, then we're going to go into our stuff we love. Probiotics for life. That's from Ari Raz. Congratulations to Coconut Cold. They are launching in Sprouts as we speak. They are launching their original and their strawberry. The strawberry is a new one that I've never seen. And I saw the tags, Wade. It's up at Sprouts, but the product's not there yet. Yeah. It's going to be there. I'm checking again today. I'm hunting for it at this point. Kenny said, don't give Gavin any ideas. All right. So let's go to our next segment, which is stuff we love. Turn up the sound a little bit. How about I have you start this week? Let's mix it up.
You go first, because I have to have my assistant get mine.
Okay. So I already flashed this earlier. This is Love Corn. This product's just fucking great. This is such a great product. It's non-GMO. Here are the ingredients. Ready for this, Wade?
Yep.
Corn, sea salt, sunflower oil. Boom. That's it.
I've had that product, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that. I've always liked old school corn nuts, and and that's I've had that. I'm a big fan. I like it a lot.
And I love how these brands are doing childhood favorites, but much healthier for you. This is like a trend. You're seeing it, right? You're seeing with Olipop, childhood soda, healthier. Cookies, right? Partake. Your favorite cookies as a kid. Now there's a healthier, low sugar, high fiber version. The one that I just ordered, I got to mention this, is Sundays. It's an Oreo. It's a high fiber, low
Okay.
sugar
Yep.
Oreo. Jody Polischuk, that's his actual name. He was on our show, 15 Minutes of Genius. The episode's going to post next week. They are online at eatsundays.com. It is the healthiest Oreo you've ever seen in your life. I think if you eat three, this is their marketing, which is clever. If you eat 3 Oreos, you get your daily serving of fiber or something. I forget what it is, but
Right.
one SKU, big box. 1 in 5 out of for every $5 that's spent on cookies in America, $1 out of $5 is spent on Oreos.
Wow, that's amazing. So, the other one that comes to mind for me, and I don't have, and you didn't have Sundays to show either, is Snow Days. Are you familiar with them?
Yep, yeah, they're the frozen little Hot Pocket things.
Well, pizza rolls, right? So
Pizza
they're
rolls,
they're
yeah.
but they're pizza bites, grain-free, organic, non-GMO. I mean, it's just that's the other one that comes to mind. So it's talk about things that are coming back. That's it. So
Good Crisp is another one. The Pringles container. I mean, they're happening all over the place. But for sure. The other one is Kalina. This is not I didn't like yogurt as a kid, but this product, the thickness, the taste, really, really good. I still have a pumpkin spice one from the holidays, from Thanksgiving. This is a really good brand, Kalina. I like Coconut Cold. That's my ultimate favorite. But you know what? If I want a little single serve, I go for Kalina. So, all right, that's mine. Wade.
well, that's kind of a good segue, and I feel like this is turning into a commercial, but that's what I had. That's what I had. There it is.
I think they're a continual sponsor on our show.
There it is.
How good their product is.
Look at that. Look at that. So I finished the apple pie version, and now I've got the pina colada one. So that's I'm going to crack this baby open, and it'll be gone for sure before I leave for San Diego. So
I got to ask you, Wade, how quickly did you just muscle through the apple one?
no, that one went pretty fast. Yeah. I really tried to make it last, but that one was really good. That one was really good.
I found the chocolate mousse at my Whole Foods here. Finally, I found it, and I stocked up. And in line, I was eating it. I couldn't wait.
Yeah,
My
it was
favorite
delicious. Good stuff.
All right. Anything else, or Coconut Cold?
That's all I got. That's all I've got. It's been a quiet week on that front for me. Definitely.
All right. So that is stuff we love. Now we go into our next segment, which is Friday Freebies.
Friday freebies.
All right. So we have 2 sponsors this week. We have a lot of people on right now. This is awesome. We're like,
yeah. Well, I've got, we have to talk about, you're gathering your notes about sponsors. We didn't talk about V-Driven, Alex.
Yeah.
So V-Driven is our ongoing sponsor, like 24/7, 365. V-Driven, Luke Abbott, vdriven.com. That's V as in Victor, driven.com. But they're CPG partner for emerging purpose-driven brands. They fuel growth and innovation by providing strategies and support in every phase of the retail journey, from leadership coaching, brand management, accounting, sales strategy, day-to-day tactical support. They can be the end-to-end solution for the brand's business needs. Their leadership team has decades of real-life experience in all the key areas of the business, and they know what it takes to help brands succeed. And we've got numerous people on here. If you don't know Luke Abbott, you should. But V-Driven, just a great organization for emerging brands and being able to help them with whatever area of their business they need. And I challenge you, you probably aren't going to find someone much more respected than Luke Abbott in the business. So, Gavin, Jesus.
Yeah. That's from 8 Mile, isn't it? B-Rabbit or something?
Gavin would know. He's from Michigan. I think he's from 8 Mile, if I'm not mistaken. Gavin? Weren't you from? Isn't that your biopic?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm thinking of like the movie where Eminem was a fictional character.
Yeah, I thought that was a play off Gavin's childhood.
Oh, that too. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Gavin's unpredictable, but Eminem and 8 Mile. What was his name? Yeah, B Rabbit. Yep, it must be a play off his
B-Rabbit.
roots. Yeah.
So we also have Brandjectory, Tom and Susan. I think they're both still around. I know Tom is for sure. But Brandjectory is designed to help CPG brand founders from seed to Series A build investor-ready business and meet, connect, interact, and learn and build relationships with CPG investors and industry experts. They have more than 115 premium brands and 240 brands in total.
You can go through some of it, not all of it.
Okay,
Big paragraph.
but there's 75 supporting industry experts, 500 plus investors.
Yep.
A widely acclaimed knowledge base, 200 original articles, brand profile, monthly founder investor meetups, the Orbit, which is newly revamped and launched. It had with mentors, one-on-one coaching, investors and industry experts, space chatter. I could keep going on forever. We probably have to have another episode about this, but they are giving away, and I have to get to my item here. They are giving away 2 lucky winners are going to get a chance to join the premium member founder investor meetup on January 10th. Their speakers will discuss the 2023 landscape, which we've talked a lot about over the last few weeks, for funding and where founders can find other sources of possible funding to grow their business. And that's one prize. And then we also have, you mentioned the individual. Help me out, Alex, with Avanti.
Sure. Yeah, I can. I'll give your voice a rest because that was a lot right there.
Thank you.
So Avante Press is a small company. He's going to get the tie-dye cup, get some water. Avante Press is a small company from Detroit. Talking about, so funny, right? Just B Rabbit and Detroit. How ironic and coincidental is that? Everything happens for a reason on the show. So their products can be found in some of the best-in-class retailers across the country. We're talking about Ahold, Bristol Farms, Brookshire, Bueller's, Discount Drug, Myers, Roundy's, United, Wegmans, and many, many more. What do they sell? They sell humor, relationship building, wellness. Avante Press publishes 3 different greeting card brands, and also the prize. And I got to mention one other thing too, just before we get off subject, but the prize is going to be, and again, they're like greeting cards that are super high end, super impressive, custom made. They send me a deluxe pack, and that's what they're going to do for you as well. Deluxe sampler for listeners. They receive this amazing collection of cards. It's $150 retail value.
Wow. Just
for you. And trust me, it's where you're going to have enough cards. Whoop. I think I'm on the wrong screen here. There we go. I'm going to show something else here that I didn't have available last week, but this is from Joe DeCarl at Sweet Origins. They do coconut supply products. He got me a custom-made wooden banner with the etched, logo on the back of the LA Dodgers because I'm in LA. And thank you. This is so thoughtful. I have it hanging on my wall. I grew up with the Dodgers, obviously, being from LA, and those are my roots. So that's Joe DeCarl. There's his info here, and I'm sure he's okay with people contacting him at Sweet Origin. They do coconut products, coconut water, coconut cream, anything you want for your product, they can supply you. So I just wanted to mention them as well. All right. So 2 sponsors, brandjectorynow.com and also Avante Press. Questions. What is the question people need to answer? That's how you win these. We're going to have 3 winners. It's putting a lot of pressure on us, Wade, to think of 3 questions.
It is. So I'll go first, Alex, just because you mentioned it. So my shirt, who is it? That's the first question.
I thought it was you with a lot of hair.
Yeah, it could have been back in the day. Although I never did that. Nah, it's not me. It's a good guess. It's a good guess, but the hair is a little bit more than I would have ever been able to achieve, I think. So
right. What is the is this the winner? Is this a Branjectory?
Well, are we dictating what the winner gets, or are we letting them pick?
Yeah, they can pick. Yeah, just
Okay.
make sure to reach out to FridayVibes100@gmail.com, because I think last week we had 2 winners for the cookie dough and neither one reached out right away. And Jake was like, who am I sending it to?
Right.
Minor Figures.
That's not correct. I'll help you out. It is nothing to do with CPG.
Yeah, Minor Figures is an oat milk. That's really good.
I'll even lean back a little bit.
I think the clue is it looks like maybe a rock star. No, I know who it is. Okay, no, it hit me. Okay. Yep.
Where is Bilal when we need him?
Yeah, that's a big clue right there.
Yes.
So the question, Gavin, is who is on
My
Wade's
shirt. My shirt.
You see the top half.
Oh my Lord. Kenny should be banned from the show for that. I mean, that's not even a good joke. That's terrible. Yeah.
I mean, he should be clotheslined, you know, and
yes. Oh, it's getting deep now, isn't it? Well, we can work on the next. If you got a question, we can work on the next one. Well,
you know, I made the cardinal mistake or sin or whatever.
Sean Berg.
All right, Ric Flair.
Woo! That's what it says. It says "Woo" is how I say Merry Christmas. So I thought it was appropriate, right?
That is very appropriate.
Yes. All right. What do you have?
I don't. You know, it's so funny. I'm drawing a blank.
Sean, what do you which one of those prizes do you want? Do you want the Branjectory for one of your brands or someone, or do you want the Avanti card gift thing?
I got an easy one. So while he's answering that, so I showed this thing, the Dodgers pennant. What is the guy's name that sent it to me?
It doesn't get much easier than that. You just
I just showed it on the screen. You can literally scroll back
right
on LinkedIn and find it. What is the guy's full name? Don't have to give me company. How about company or full name? One of the two. And you can pick the prize. Either, well, we'll see what the first winner picks.
Awesome, Sean. That's great. Yeah.
All right, so he's going to do Branjectory.
Awesome.
So now there's one Branjectory seat left, and also there is an Avante Press custom cards during the holidays. I mean, that's like being in the desert and getting water.
That's right.
Know? All right. So what is the card? The guy it's a guy that gave me this Dodgers pennant. I showed his card. I said the company. I said his name. Who is it? You're killing me, Smalls.
That's right. So we have to think of another. Well, we should probably wait for this one. Oh,
everyone's saying Avante. So not Avante is the sponsor. This is
right. No, yeah, he held the business card up there. Yeah,
he does coconut stuff. I mean, I'm just specifying. Let's see. Okay, I got one.
So do we make him? Oh, did Tom get it? Since it's, I'm assuming Tom's going for the Avanti.
Yeah, it's not the exact name, but if no one gets closer, then he's the default winner. How about that?
Okay, all right. So we'll go.
Right.
We'll let that. If anybody can beat it, it's just spelling's off a little bit, right?
Yeah. Just, if you look at it with like one eye squinted, it looks correct.
Okay.
So Wade was talking about something that is not a good thing to do in business, and he received something. What was it, and what was it, and what was all over the place? It's easy. Like if you're like sleeping during the show, which I don't recommend, you would still know what the answer is.
Well, I have heard that our voices are really soothing, and some people do use them to, as their relaxation. It's between us and the soothing sounds of crickets and whatnot out there. So, yeah.
Sarah Stender Delaney. Sample sauce. It was sauce.
There you go.
That was it.
That's it.
All right. A lot of answers on that one. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, our voices, Must be soothing in Chile and New Zealand. I know that much.
So we're saying Tom gets the Avanti, right?
Tom got the Avanti.
And Sarah gets the other. Sarah gets the other Brandjectory.
And then Sean Berg gets the Brandjectory as well.
Right.
Yeah, well, who is right? So Friday, if you want to get your prize, in order to get your prize, email Friday Vibes, plural, Friday Vibes 100 at gmail.com, and we will connect you with the sponsor.
Tom wants to see the tree, so I'm just trying to there it is,
There it
Tom.
is.
There it
Nice.
is.
I like it
Yeah.
a lot.
There it is.
How long do you spend decorating it? Let me guess.
Renee, how long did you spend decorating it?
2 hours.
No. Longer?
Probably 45 minutes.
45 minutes. So one of the cool things we do, or Renee does, I'm not going to take credit. So between ornaments from the kids that they created when they were in school, we also like to pick up ornaments from places we've traveled. So we've got a lot of ornaments from, our excursions across the country and everywhere. So that's something we like to do. And so it's really cool. I know Renee gets a kick out of it as she puts it up every year, that kind of remembering the places or where we picked up the ornament. Yeah. Fun.
Love it. All right. So the tree tells a story. I love it.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny with our baby, like he's just mesmerized by our tree. Like whenever he's crying or fussy, I just like turn him to the tree and he goes like,
There you go. Love it.
So, all right. So our show next week, just a reminder, because we're going to be ending soon here, is that our show next week is going to be on Friday. So we're going to have it on 12/23. Yes, we are taking many kicks in the pants for the team here. We're going to have 2 days before Christmas. We're both.
It's our gift to our audience.
It's our gift. Christmas comes early this year. You put the digital Friday Vibes under your tree, right? And so episode 48 will be at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on December 23rd, Friday. Our sponsor is going to be Rooted Food Sales, who is a broker.
Matt
Cotton. And was on a show recently, Pleasantly Persistent, I think is the name of the show.
Yep.
And then we have some guests coming up too on December 30th. Will Nitzy, I probably am pronouncing your last name wrong. IQ Bar. We're having Allison Kane on January 13th. We're having Brad Woodgate, who is a entrepreneur legend that's working with Vanilla Ice right now on his brand Joyburst. He's on January 27th. He'll tell you about that. And then we have Luke Abbott, the man, on February 3rd. So we got a good lineup coming up.
Definitely. But this has been good. The time flew by. It's good every once in a while to go back the way it started, right? We're going back to our roots, speaking of rooted. So yeah. And next week we're going back to our roots with our original time.
There you go. That works. Everything's coincidental, but it works.
Exactly.
All right. So love you, buddy. Great show today. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for all the great comments. We had a lot of people tuning in. I'm really glad you love the subject matter and what we discussed. And we will see you next Friday at 8 a.m. Take good care, everyone.